Hey, how's it going? It's Keith Townsend from the CTO Advisor, VMworld 2018, where, we move from location to location. Cameras are portable these days. Joe, we were just talking about you worked at NBC, and the thought of doing high quality production stuff in a mobile suite like this a few years ago would be unheard of.
Unheard of, Keith.
So we're having conversations about technology, and I'm loving that we're up-leveling the conversation. Joe Zarb, Vice President of Partners.
That's right, our global
technology partners at SAP. Your first VMworld.
That's correct.
Which is an example of the melding of infrastructure and the app layer needing to come and have a single solution presented to the customers. Super excited about that. And then we can't have a conversation about SAP without talking about Leonardo, Merlin Yamssi.
Yes.
Solution Architecture Center of Excellence for Leonardo.
Yes.
That we're going to have, I think, a great conversation. Merlin
earns the honest keep here. He earns the honest salary.
So our previous interview experience, we usually talk, at that what we like to call that marketecture layer. Where we can draw the
right.
I tweeted this
high level, right?
Exactly.
Like, why do engineers always have to mess up my beautiful architectures with reality?
Right.
We'll get some doses of reality on what's truly possible, versus what's fanciful. So first off, Joe, let's talk about the obvious. Why come to VMworld this year? Like, what's the initiator?
That is a great question, and I'll tell you, it really centers around a lot of SAP's strategy to really bring the intelligent enterprise to market. And of course, our core competencies are around critical business applications and innovation platforms. But really, to deliver an intelligent enterprise, you need intelligent infrastructure.
Right.
And this is a place where SAP can come and not only participate with VMware, but all the SI partners that participate and work with VMware, and most of the hardware partners. So there's a bunch of partners here, a bunch of SAP customers here, and an SAP Intelligent Enterprise agenda that is uniquely met by partnerships with companies like VMware.
So Merlin, as we talk about platforms like Leonardo, how important are the relationships on the show floor? And to enabling companies to kind of, get a peace of mind. The infrastructure stuff is cool, but as I wrap my head around the business capability that Leonardo brings, I can't spend time on that stuff.
Exactly.
So what have been some of the conversations on the show floor?
So typically when customers start a project like that, they think about the use case. They think about the business outcome. But one part of the thing that they don't think about is how will this work?
Yeah, how do I get it? Yeah,
how do I get it to work? And when it's working, how do you get it seamless, right? Mm-hmm. So that usually happens after the fact. Like you do the POC, you do the pilot, and then, we get a good outcome. Now, let's implement in production. And then they start thinking about, those are devices, the edges, and these things need to be, on board.
Yeah, I mean, I can get a bunch of Raspberry Pis, POC, exactly. And it all works perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Right.
You get out to the edge, you're like, wait, this thing is shooting off a ton of data.
Yes.
How do I get that data back to my, whether it's my SAP HANA instance?
Yeah. Right.
How do I get this data back?
Yes. So you need to manage the infrastructure, and that's a key piece of it. So the VMware SAP relationship is really about VMware taking care of the infrastructure plane, which we call really taking care of everything so that you have your mind out of that, and SAP is taking care of the data plane and the application. So this joint collaboration is really key for customer, because at the end of the day, the end-to-end solution is what they care about. Right.
Yeah, and so Joe, I like to, this is your third VMware, so you're used to the intense focus on infrastructure.
Yes.
Joe, I'd like to get your first impressions of any eye-opening experience or interactions being in just a conference that's clearly focused on just infrastructure.
Yeah, so I learned a couple of things here, and they were wonderfully eye-opening. First, When I came in, I opened up my VMworld app and I searched on SAP, and there were a plethora of presentations targeting the SAP community and how SAP customers can innovate from hyperconverged infrastructure and virtualization, et cetera. So that was one thing that was enlightening. Second is, like Merlin mentioned, when you get into the nuts and bolts of it, the use cases, I was expecting kind of one or two use cases. And
right.
What I really found was there's a lot of use cases. So just some of the low-hanging fruit that really resonated with me, and Merlin hit on it as well, is when you walk the show floor, you've got a multitude of hardware vendors, all of whom have edge gateway devices, all of whom are certified to run SAP Leonardo. But the question is, how do you manage that if it's heterogeneous and widely distributed? VMware was able to provide a vision and some insights in terms of how you create that into a unified domain, so to speak. And then second, we've got a huge movement of customers moving to our premier platform and digital core S/4HANA. And when you make that move, it's not like you're deploying an application.
Right.
You've got test, prod, QA, and then disaster recovery, and hyperconverged infrastructure and virtualization allows customers to right-size where they want to run that workload, whether on-prem or in the cloud, and being able to move instances about. And so getting back to your friend who simplified his life by moving into a condo, you could kind of now have enterprise class, mansion-like experience at condo ease, right, so to speak. So it's that was really enlightening. So I had a really great first show here.
So I'm really interested in this digital transformation journey that SAP is helping to lead. I was at NetApp Insight last year, and the CEO of NetApp was talking about how data-driven medicine helped save his son's life, and how those innovations are permeating from industry. We're hearing repetitive stories, maybe not necessarily life-saving stories, but industry disruptive conversations of how applications like SAP are being leveraged to disrupt and change entire industries. And one of the things that I think one of the parallels between infrastructure and application layer, you can look up and there's a ton of technical debt that we've just, whether it's, someone's over customized SAP and they've neglected to upgrade for some time, and now they find themselves at a competitive disadvantage because they need to move. They need the advantages of Leonardo. They need the advantages of the latest version of SAP, but they're stuck. What's the first step to getting unstuck? Like, how do I get it? As a former SAP guy, I can look at it and I can be overwhelmed.
Right.
Like I just look at my landscapes and thinking, man, I need to be more agile in my landscapes to even move to even plan the upgrade process.
That's exactly right. So let me hit on that, and then Merlin,
Yes.
maybe you could add some points. Yes. So first, you kind of nailed it. That really everybody is looking to move to this digitization world, and if they don't, they know they're going to be very vulnerable to competition and other market forces. So our approach really has been a couple of things. One, to enable channel partners that we work with, so a lot of the SI partners, to re-engineer our own sales force, and then really to focus on the three things that we think matter, and that's customers, its industries, and its markets. So a couple of things how we help customers approach this new world of digitization is we take a step back, and that usually involves design thinking. And it's really about bringing the customer together, sometimes with some of their customers, sometimes with some of their suppliers, to better understand what is their value proposition, what's their value chain, and what makes them unique, what's the secret sauce. And then what is the supporting data that is going to help them make decisions and take actions that are fundamentally transformative, right? And so that whole process of design thinking, taking that step back and really helping the customer, as well as helping SAP, focus on what we can do, what parts we can help them with, and what our partners can bring to bear to really help transform our customers. That's a big part of where that journey starts with our customers. It has literally nothing to do with the software. It has nothing to do with technology. It's that step back and let's rethink about what we're trying to do as business partners and from a business point of view.
And the moving to the cloud will help on the landscape, right?
Right.
By moving all the innovation that we call in the cloud, you will not be stuck in your instance anymore.
Right.
Because
like if I'm running, like literally, the
Yeah.
last SAP environment I ran was just a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and we're on HPUX.
Exactly.
So not
Yeah.
not a slam. I mean, SAP runs fine on HPUX,
Yeah.
but if I'm looking at HANA and I'm looking at next generation technologies that's going to move the business forward,
Yeah.
status quo wasn't enough, and so I can't. All due respect to HPUX, I can't be agile on. I can't spin up. It took me 6 months to spin up a new landscape.
Exactly.
Right.
So moving to the cloud,
that's not possible.
yeah, moving to the cloud helps really drive those challenges,
Right.
So that you are always up to date, right? So the SAP strategy with the cloud first approach, I think is very compelling for moving customer
Rapid deployment and rapid innovation.
Exactly.
Joe,
Agile.
We talked at Sapphire about the agility that's brought via the cloud,
Right.
and how vendors, and I'll be upfront. This is still CTO Advisor, so I try and be as independent as possible. But VMware, NetApp, HPE, all the whole partner ecosystem is needed to move forward. This is immensely complex. One of the things that we haven't talked about at all is automation.
Right.
The ability to automatically spin up environments. Leonardo, where we're talking about mobile and IoT, moves extremely fast.
Yes.
Right.
Traditional SAP, not so much. So
Exactly.
talk to me a little bit about the importance of automation and helping to bridge the gap between the fast-moving mobile development and IoT landscape, and that more traditional, system of record, we have to keep the system up and running and stable.
So from that side, for example, on IoT, typically you have to onboard devices and gateways, right? And you have thousands of those. So if you think about what was done in the past, onboarding a device can take about, let's say, a day or two.
Yes.
If you think about the number of devices that you need to onboard, it will be years before you, before you deploy your application.
10,000 devices in the field, and it takes a data. Our digital transformation just failed even at the planning stage.
Typically. So what the new trend is really about fast onboarding, automatic onboarding. So VMware, for example, is bringing us this new technology where you can onboard a device in let's say, automatically in seconds, right?
Right.
So that will help to scale and to bring those devices up and running faster than ever, right? And then you need to keep monitoring those devices, managing, securing those devices as they get on board, right?
Right.
So everything needs to be automated. You won't be thinking of, if something happened, 10,000 devices, how do you want to get there and know or manage that? So you need automation. You need to make everything automated.
Yeah, and what I would add to that, Keith, is we talked about the cloud providing that flexibility and simplicity, but these HCI vendors, really have brought that hyperscaler cloud simplicity and manageability on-prem. Right. So now you can get a lot more done with less technical center of excellence professionals and less functional center of excellence professionals than you could before. So now you're starting to get some parity between that hyperscaler experience and that hyper-converged experience.
Yeah,
right?
the design phase for just, VMAC or HDS or whatever it was that was going to run my Oracle piece was an amazing amount of complexity.
That's right.
And then I had a team that just looked at storage performance and capacity management so that they can design the next phase of the upgrade of the storage array to keep up with the demand of the business. HTI makes that just really simple.
That's exactly right. And if you look at Nutanix, you look at SimpliVity from HPE, and of course you look at the work that's going on here, it's very clear that the ability to manage a fairly complex landscape through a single pane of glass is within reach. You know, we can start to do that now. And then adding on to what Merlin mentioned, when you get into these IoT devices and you move into this next generation of breakthrough technologies, machine learning, blockchain, stream processing, et cetera, you really have to make some complex decisions like, do I take the processing to the data, or do I bring the data to the processing?
Yes.
And is my data hot? Is it warm? Is it cold? And when do I use the cold data? When do I use the hot or warm data? Where does it reside? You start to get into a lot of decisions that traditional IT environment never had to deal with.
Right.
And now we may not be fully there yet, but we certainly have a vision of what kinds of technologies can help automate that, administer it, and manage it.
So let's close out. I can talk about SAP probably longer than most infrastructure guys, but people want to find out generically about the partnerships SAP has. What is there a landing page? Where can I go to find out about SAP partnerships?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. So if you just go to sap.com and you could search on partners, the partners that we really focus on are our global technology partners and our global service provider partners. These are partners that have tremendous insights into SAP's secret sauce, and we have insights into their secret sauce. We talk about certification programs, but that's a misnomer. It's really co-innovation. Our partners are making a commitment to support and develop products with us, take them to market, and support them so that mission-critical applications can be stable for years to come. So, you know, I definitely encourage all your viewers to consider SAP's partners, both on the service provider side and on the technology side, to help them with their infrastructure planning and SAP deployment plans.
Joe Zarb, really appreciate you coming on. The CTO Advisor, Merlin Yamssi, you as well.
Thank you.
If you want to learn more about the CTO Advisor, you can find us on the web, thectoadvisor.com. You can find this and all of the CTO Dose videos on ctodose.com. Talk to you next CTO Dose.
Thank you.
Thanks.